March 15th will always bring back sad memories to the residents of Soba town, which is in Festac Extension in Amuwo-Dofin area of Lagos State. An explosion with such devastating effect that the governor, Babatunde Sanwo-Olu, compared it to a war zone after citing the level of damage which the explosion, which is possibly caused by infringement on the right of way.
These are national resources that also have been put there. People gave them the land. Okay? So it is not a case of bug passing or incidents where we're now saying government did not do. You don't build a tank farm in one day. You don't build it in 1 year. People gave them approvals and people gave them access to those lands.
The incident exposed a shero to the world. Reverend Sister Henrietta Aloka, the principal of Bethlehem Girls College. She was able to save all the girls in the school, but unfortunately could not get out before the building caved in. The story of the explosion at Soba town makes it to Big Story, and we explore the consequences and lessons from the unfortunate incident. "53-year-old businessman Anayo Kore is in too much pain to speak. His family is happy to see him like this, 48 hours after he was buried in his collapsed house in Soba area. Help did not come fast enough, so he had to pull himself out of the rubble before he was carried to Navy Reference Hospital on Sunday, the 15th of March 2020. He lost a house he had labored hard to build, his cars and other valuables. But thankfully, his wife and children were out of the house on the fateful Sunday morning. Unfortunately, the survival of Idorian Edet is a bittersweet one. After medical attention, he seems stable, but the memories of the incident as well as the lack of communication about the status of his wife taint his joy.
I was in the room dressing up for church service when I started perceiving fuel in the room. I now ran to the parlor. When I got there, it was as if they poured fuel all over the room, the sitting room. Then I went outside. Behold, smoke has taken over everywhere outside. I went inside. I called my wife that she should hurry up, that I don't understand what is happening. She came out. Before I knew what happened, she said she forgot her phone. She ran inside again to go and pick up her phone. On her way coming out from the gate, the explosion took place. And me, I was putting on black suit up and down. I just found myself in a distance from my house. Then all what I put on, I could not find pieces of the clothes. I was left with just my boxer and a singlet and my shoe, my ring, everything gone. Then I saw my building, enter ground. Then the only thing I could remember, the explosion carried my wife. And when I stood up, I tried to look for her, but then I was vomiting blood and blood was coming out from my 2 ears. So I didn't even, up to now, I've not seen her. But they said they took her to Holy Family Hospital at Festac and they rejected her. So presently they said she's at Igbobi Hospital, but I've not seen her.
Adama Uche Gonaya and her son escaped with bruises and red eyes, which luckily has not affected their sight. She says they are visitors in Lagos and had lodged in a hotel in the area.
I'd never expect such a thing will happen because I didn't know that there's any pipeline around that area. So one morning like that, we are planning to have finished bathing. Remember my son to bath. What we had, wow! The thing just carry us like a wave. But all these injuries, as the thing carry us, the thing for a far distance, then bring us to an exit. We use our head like this glass, squash the glass, pow, throw us aside. So that's what happened. That's what we can't get us. See, sand is inside my head and bottles. As we come up and start running, blood everywhere. Everybody's seeing us, so everybody's running. Nobody wants to assist us. We run for a far distance before we get to Kekemara because blood is rushing. Say our blood will soon finish before the Kekemara man took us to this place. That's what I can remember.
The biggest loss seems to be from Bethlehem Girls College, located a stone's throw from the source of the explosion. The school, built on about 3.8 hectares of land with classrooms and dormitory for the girls and staff, caved in as a result of the explosion, taking with it the life of the principal, Reverend Sister Henrietta Aloka, but not before she saved the life of her students. Now her body lies here at the mortuary in Navy Reference Hospital, while her colleagues, friends and family members make arrangements on how to give her a befitting burial, especially considering the fact that she could have saved herself first. "20 other bodies and many injured were recovered from the aftermath of the explosion in Soba-Ado town.
At about 09:30, we heard an explosion, a very loud sound, and then about 30 minutes later, we received the first set of casualties. The initial number of casualties were 6. And then while we were attending to those 6, we got some more kept trooping in. At the end of the day, we attended to about 56 casualties. Out of that 56, 8 of them had to be admitted. 1 was admitted into the intensive care unit. 2 had to be referred to the Lagos University Teaching Hospital because they had traumatic brain injury. And then of the others, some parents of the children actually came to take them away, while others were treated for minor injuries and they were discharged to go home or follow them up as outpatients. That was them. We also received, on that same Sunday, we received 3 dead bodies that came in from the site. The casualty in intensive care unit suffered burns, about 50% burns. He also suffered an inhalational injury. At the time he came, he was barely able to breathe. So we had to take over his breathing for him. We connected him to a machine, a ventilator. That is what he's using to breathe now in intensive care units. And we're also dressing his burns. He had burns over his face, his back, his upper and lower limbs, totaling about 50% in the medical palace. The others actually had injuries, soft tissue injuries, thank God, except for one who had a fracture of her forearm. But the remaining people had just had soft tissue injuries. Some had injuries to their eyes, to their face, affecting the eyes, for which our ophthalmologists is also, I think about 2 of them also have injuries affecting their eyes.
The Lagos State government says that 276,000 people have been displaced. The assessment team records that 170 buildings got damaged, as well as 40 cars and 3 articulated vehicles. For an area which has 30% business and 70% residents, the value of loss is, however, unquantifiable.
For the victims, if they need abode, we have already provided that for them. We have set up a helpline station, which is a sort of information station, which means if you have any of your beloved one that is missing, you should go and put your name there. The search and rescue is still ongoing. The Lagos State's material testing are on the ground. They are testing the structure to check how viable they are. If they are not viable, if they are not stable, we will put it down to stabilize them. If they are stable, we will call in the structural engineer to come and do the mending. So before any house is brought down to ground zero, we must have been empirical about it. We must have done a comprehensive test on all the structures. We are going to review those people that build their houses here. We are going to look at the setback of right of the way. Do they conform with it? We are going to do a lot of regulations in this place.
Soba Town is part of the land which the government ceded to the Soba family in the 1970s after it acquired the expanse of land, part of which is today used as the International Trade Fair in Lagos. Part of the area is, however, owned and controlled by the Federal Housing Authority, which has said that many of the buildings in the area have encroached into government-acquired land. Soba Town starts from Gani Adams Street, the same point where Soba-Ado terminates. It spans to Ijedodo area, which shares boundary with Alomosho local government area and connects to Iba in Ojo local government area. On another side, the town is demarcated from Festac by a water channel. Its location makes it a thoroughfare for the NNPC pipeline. Soba accommodates part of the International Trade Fair, the area which is said to have been originally belonged to the Soba family. The areas formed a community of Nigerians from all parts of the country living and doing business here, which has attracted the siting of different facilities.
The Bethlehem College is a very beautiful place. It's just at the back there, very big college, as you can see. And the SSS training school is also not too far from the Bethlehem College. Then you have the Nigerian Army Barracks, not too far from here. And we've all communed together peacefully. The area has been very peaceful, very wonderful. There are also some schools around, private schools, little schools. We have plazas here. We have small cottage industry like the block molding factory just by the entrance of Soba-Ado community here. We have the plumbing. You have the plumbing market. There's a big plumbing market just by Soba-Ado bus stop there. And there are so many opportunities here where people have come to seek greener pastures.
One of the opportunities over the years have been explored by Mrs. Foluke Folorunsho, who deals in recycling PET bottles to make PKO and PKC, creating a means of livelihood for 8 Nigerians.
This thing just destroy all my business, and I get a truck which is Ford. Look at it there. I park it up that side. Look at my second motor here. Has destroyed my motor. I cannot do anything. And inside my room, I get 8 rooms at that place. Apart from this one, all that place now has fell down. All the ceiling, all the zinc, everything has spoiled. As a woman, as a mother, I need government to help me because I just did now. If you look at me, because since on Sunday when this thing happened, Since some Sunday when this thing happen, I just dey reckless. I cannot do anything, so I need make government to help me.
Several government officials and agencies have visited the area to get first-hand assessment of the explosion. The governor has subsequently set up an emergency relief fund amounting to 2 billion naira to aid and compensate the survivors. He's also promised that issues which may have led to the explosion will be looked into.
It's really to find out. You see, we cannot condone bad behaviors, right? It will be also an opportunity for us to right the wrong, right? It's a massive city. It's a big city. I can tell you quite a number of them too might not have building approval. So it's an opportunity for us to do the entire scope of what is right and what is proper. Sometimes what is right might not be popular, but we'll do not necessarily the popular thing, but the right thing. And we're going to be very firm with doing the right thing at this time. Because each time these things happen, it's always a case of the government has not done its right. So if it is that we're going to revoke some approvals, we will do it. People gave them the land to build the tank farms and they got approvals for it. So if we're going to work together, we'll work together. Okay? These are national resources that also have been put there. People gave them the land. Okay? So it is not a case of buck passing or incidents where we're now saying government did not do. You don't build a tank farm in one day. You don't build it in 1 year. People gave them approvals and people gave them access to those lands.
The issue of right-of-way has also raised discussion on ownership and area of land ceded to the Soba family and the parts controlled by the Federal Housing Authority.
By extension, this is part of the land acquired by the federal government, which was given to Federal Housing Authority to form part of Festac Town. The original Festac Town has been developed a long time ago by the federal government. This is the phase 2 of the festival town, which is much larger than this. It's almost about 2,000 hectares, almost 2,000 hectares. But like we said, there's some part of the land that we ceded to the host community, people that are originally here. There's the Ado family, but the Soba too came in here to start after their land was acquired by the federal government. They used to exist along the trade fair and the Ojo cantonment side before they relocated here. But since they came, we have had talks with them, asking them to be very, very careful in the way they tamper with all the existing land structure here. Because a lot of the houses here you see are illegal. They were not properly acquired by those host communities. They have been selling this land to the unsuspecting members of the public. A lot of houses here don't have any title at all.
No, they have government approval. You can ask them. The Lagos State government don't have any problem with the federal government because the Lagos State government have already won the federal government out to Supreme Court that all land in Lagos State belong to Lagos State. All our people have approval from the Lagos State government, even up to the CFO, because we have a rapport with them. We always went to their office and they listened to us. We have a fight with them. It's just only little misunderstanding between we and them, because what we are expecting from them is not enough for the family. So that is why they promised to give us also amount of land, and it's not enough for the wide. We have a larger family, which we are still begging them to give us more to the land they are giving to us.
The group at the middle of this argument is the Association of Landlords and Residents, most of whom acquire the property from the family. They now run back to the family to affirm their legitimacy and to clarify the agreement of siting structures in the same area with the oil and gas facility.
This pipeline, my baile then was the twice to the former baile. I'm the secretary to the family. Then we have been paying for clearing the pipeline from Soba-Ado junction there to our neighboring Jododo neighboring by the pipe these NNPC people. We clear from the express there down to there, while the Oba of Ado Latif Oba of Ado there, clear from that where we stopped to Mile 2 as a contract. They give it out of to us as a contract. And if you can go down where the incident happened there, you will see where the barrack of the NNPC put their boundary, that this is where the point we cannot cross, and we did not cross.
Another issue which plagues the group is the cause of the explosion. This is in spite of the fact that the NNPC has explained that the source was a truck which came in contact with the pipeline, which is buried 5 feet below sea level. "48 hours after, even with the system 2B shut down, petroleum product has formed a pond at the point, and the fire service has to consistently douse the fumes to avoid subsequent explosion. But all these have not stood the suspicious of the residents, who say this may be an incident linked to insecurity.
I saw the pictures. I saw that everything that happened there happened to the roofs of most of the buildings. So obviously it must be, from my knowledge and my experience, it must be gas, petrol and gas, because there must have been a leakage somewhere, and because it was in the morning, and I think it was a humid morning, humid day, so gas must have been residual in the air, and something must have sparked it, and the explosion. That's why it happened to the rooftops, opened the roofs of most of the buildings. I heard people talk about bomb, and I don't think so, because the way the bomb acts is different. The bomb will act laterally across the ground, and I wouldn't expect buildings to be standing and a bomb will be localized, it will be more localized. This was more widespread, except you are telling us that there were a series of bombs that went off, but from what they said, it was just a loud bang, which meant that it was just a source, and I think it was from the air. If there was a leakage in the pipeline and fuel was seeping out, don't forget that fuel evaporates fast as well. And if it had been like that for a while, of course there will be lots of fumes around waiting to be ignited. And once that happens, it will be instant. If you have experienced a petrol fire before, you notice that it comes with a loud bang, and it's once and it goes. But what happens with the fuel, if it's continuous, that means fuel is still flowing out, then it will continue. But if it's just the fumes and gas, it's just once. It extinguishes itself after the explosion.
The Lagos State government has said that investigations are still on to get to the root of the cause of the explosion. Hopefully, this will be concluded in a short while to give the matter rest. The government has also promised to ensure strict regulation that would follow laid down laws of right of way in the area.